This is Fred Beck from Fred Exciting. Today, I'm very lucky to joined by, once again, Stitch Duran. Stitch, how have you been, mate? It's been a while.
It's been a while, but I've been busy, as you can tell, right? And had a great fight over the weekend. So yeah, I think people are still pumped. I'm still pumped.
Yeah, I'm completely sure. And so you, obviously, those who don't know, you're Tyson Fury's Cutman as he beat Wilder on the past weekend. How would you kind of judge the overall experience then?
Yeah, no, it was high energy by all means. Everybody was calling it a Rocky movie, and I just kind of expected that type of showdown, and it didn't. Definitely made the fans happy.
Yeah, it certainly did deliver. And before the fight, of course, you're wrapping Tyson's hands. And you said to me before, sometimes when you're wrapping their hands before the fight, you've had to calm them down and tell them it's all right. But I guess you didn't have to do that for Tyson.
Well, actually, they would correct you on that. Sugar wraps his hands.
Oh,
I,
really?
I, I wrap a lot of fighters' hands, but when I came into camp, I'm not the kind of guy. Sugar's already wrapping his hands. I'm the kind of guy that says, "Hey, man, it's what I do." If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Sugar does a good job. But no, and the thing about that night, I worked not only Tyson Fury's, but I worked 3 other fights. So I worked with Effie Jagaba and right before the Tyson Fury fight. So as I walked into the dressing room to work with Tyson Fury, he was already gloved up and ready to go into his action. So I didn't get to see nothing in the dressing room, but had a fun time with him.
I'm sure that makes your life even easier, basically. Then the Sugar does his hands.
Yeah, well, either way, it's I wrapped out of the 4 fighters I wrapped the other 2 of them, 2 of the heavyweights, Anderson Johnson and Effie Jagaba. So yeah, it's what I do, But I'm not the kind of guy that will go and say, "Hey, man, this is my job," let me wrap your hands. That's not my nature.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, so if we just touch on the fight and then we'll talk about a few other things. You yourself are in the corner, you kind of see what's happening with the coach as well. When Fury knocked Wilder down in the 3rd round, what was kind of being told to him in the corner, or what was going through in everyone's heads?
Yeah, well, in the dressing room, first of all, Fred, I sat down with him, and because, like I say, I didn't see him until he already had his gloves on. So, and I didn't go to camp because of this COVID, right? So the first time I saw Tyson was when I walked into the dressing room. But I sat down with him and I said, "Look, I understand this is going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a lot of contact, and that's the way I look at fights, Fred." So I told him, I said, "Look, I'm gonna keep ice on you every round. You just kind of do a lot of preventive maintenance." So when he got dropped, yeah, of course, first thing I had the ice, and I applied it on his face, and then I got it around the top of his head and his back, and because if you get something cold on you, whether you've been dropped or not, or just joking around, you get that reaction, right? Well, that cold will hopefully bring you back to your senses. And after the fight, I'm saying goodbye to Tyson Fury, and he gives me a hug and kisses me on the cheek and thanks me for putting ice on his face. So yeah, so that works, and so that's the way the battle went.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me say, when he got dropped twice, he came back, and he focused up real good. And, Sugar calmed him down and got him back to square one. And like I say, I had the ice on him, so I kind of rejuvenated him that way mentally. And he went out and did what he had to do.
I see what you mean by the ice as well. When someone puts a cold ice cube down the back of your neck, it really does wake you up. So I'm sure I've been woke Tyson up as well.
Yeah, you mentioned a big ice pack, so.
Of course. And then I remember hearing you talk about, I think it was with the Boxing Social, and you were talking about how Wilder kind of reverted back to his old self. Was obviously enjoying that when Malik Scott and kind of eventually kind of new style for the first 3 rounds of the fight until Wilder got dropped. Do you think that Wilder kind of went back to his old self after he got dropped as the fight?
Yeah, 100% right. And I knew that would happen. And my buddy Don House was hired on to be his cut man, and we worked many years in the UFC, so very knowledgeable on the game. And he made the mistake of doing an interview where he said he was showing them how to go to the body. And so I saw that, but the only thing he did was just throw a jab. He didn't, not like a Mexican fighter where you use both hands and you go down to the body, but he found it was ineffective, and it's quite dangerous for him, actually, because all Tyson had to do was counter with the right hand as his hand is extended on his stomach, right? So, but I knew, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. type of theory. But I knew that he was going to get back to what he did in the past because that was successful for him.
Yeah, of course, you're knocking everyone out. You don't really change. And of course, if you're not broke, don't fix it. But then it was broke in the end, I guess. And how does that kind of overall event compare to any other events you worked? For example, like with Joshua Klitschko, that was crazy in Wembley Stadium. How do those kind of events compare? Because when they ended in the 11th round, it must have been quite loud in there.
Yeah, it was pretty loud, and and you're right. And like I say, it was like a Rocky movie, right? But Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko to this point was one of my highlights, and they were naming it probably the fight of the decade type of thing. But then comes along Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and I think they might have taken that cake, and just because of the excitement of the knockdowns, and it showed. It really, when you break it down for boxing, it shows the heart and soul of both gladiators, right? But then you also look at the efficiency of corners. Tyson Fury with Sugar, myself, Capetillo, and Taylor. We were A-level. You look at the other corner, and I'm glad we were in our corner. Let's put it that way. So percentage-wise, we did what we had to do, and I look at everything as how at all these little angles of what they're doing, what we're doing, but this is the type of fight, Fred, where you look at the long-term damage of what's going to happen to Deontay Wilder. You look at the fight before, and I think I told you before, after that first fight, I did an interview with, I think it's BBC, and I told them my concern, it was good that the fight was stopped because the type of damage that he was getting is what we consider long-term damage, where it gives you the brain damage. So, being that they stopped that fight then was a good thing, but then he took those same type of beatings here. Tyson Fury hits extremely, extremely hard, and you look at those shots, and they go here and they come out here, that type of thing. So let's hope he's okay.
I sure do as well, because both the fighters this time, excuse me, both the fighters this time are a lot heavier as well, both career heaviest weights. And one thing I do want to touch on, you mentioned there, Rocky, I've seen a few things written online about Creed 3 coming out. Obviously, you in Creed 2 and Creed 1. You're a movie star as well as a Cutman. Has anyone spoken to you at all about being Creed 3?
Well, yes, they did, actually. And I'll give you a little bit of what happened, all right, Fred? So Wednesday, I'm driving to, I live 20 minutes from the MGM, right? And so I was driving to the hotel for the press conference. And I get a call from Nicholas Stern, the executive producer for Creed. And he says, yeah, they're starting to film January the 10th, I think, in Atlanta. And he was just asking for my time frames. And I told him, whatever time you need, I have, So it looks like I'll be going to Atlanta at least, January, February. Once, everything is written out on time schedules and all that, I'll get the information. But it looks like Creed 3 is on. And I'll throw another little side note in there is Edgar Berlanga, that also fought on the card. He's a young up-and-coming fighter. He's going to be in the movie, so he'll be one of the fighters. But I don't know the storyline. I don't care. As long as I'm there, being part of this this trilogy, then it's awesome for me. But the way I look at it, Fred, I was telling this one guy, is what Mick was to Rocky, Stitch will be to Adonis in the new generation. So for me, it's a lock-in, and that's really what gives me the honor of doing what I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool seeing you in the film again once it comes out as well. I mean,
yeah, and it's funny. I just got a check last night, when I opened up the mail, and it's residual. So whenever you have lines in a movie, you get money. They call it mailbox money. So let's say they sell it to the UK. Let's say they sell it to networks all over the world. Well, they all have to pay for that. And being that I had lines, and I get a percentage of that, but I got a nice handsome check, which is a nice surprise.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool as well. Do you think you're gonna have more lines in this next film then, Creed 3?
Oh, I'm sure I will. The lines aren't, I'm not an actor, so I don't want to have a whole selection of lines, but I think my $1 million line in the last one is the beginning of the movie when Adonis is getting ready to go fight, and everybody's watching the TV, and I get the clip, the remote control I said, all right, everybody out, let's go. And I turned it off. That was my line, which is fine with me because, like I say, I'm not an actor and I don't want to be talking a whole lot. And me as a cut-man, that's not our job anyway.
And how many times did you practice that line then? How many times did you go over it?
It wasn't hard to do. Well, and then another time is when the hospital called, and I pick up the phone and they're asking for Rocky, and I say, hey, Rock, for you. That was it. And he comes by and gets the phone, and that's when he finds out that he has to go to the hospital, and then finds out that he has cancer. So yeah, those are my two lines. So.
Do you know Sylvester Stallone will be in Creed 3, or is he out of it now?
I don't think so. I think the writing before was that he was saying his goodbye and letting Adonis take his own road. And but I'm sure you'll have some. Be good to do another movie with him, just for the history of my historical moments. Because how many people do you know have done 3 movies with Sylvester Stallone? So I'm one of them. So that's what it's kind of mind blowing for me. That I get these opportunities and they're all golden opportunities.
You're going to need to write another book. The Fields of the Gardens #3 then.
Well, they're turning that into a documentary as we speak right now. And so hopefully, they'll be done by the end of this year. We've already done some interviews and filming and all that. And we're waiting for the finale is to interview Michael B. Jordan during the filming of Creed 3. So hopefully it'll be coming out. Yeah,
kind of a celebrity, Michael B. Jordan, in your documentary as well. That's awesome. Yeah. I'll put the 2 books, Fields from the Gardens, Fields from the Garden, in the description. Just one more thing I want to know, actually. Since you're a cut man, how many hands do you think you've wrapped in your whole career?
Countless. People are asking me that all the time. Is it 1,000? Is it 2,000? I don't know. But I could tell you, I probably wrap more hands than anybody in the world. That I know. I go to these events and people want me to wrap their hands all the time. But I've also done it for, just fans like yourself. When I was with the UFC, every time the fans would always hang out in the hotel. So I would always pick a fan out and wrap his hands in front of everybody, right? And then I would wrap his hands, and then I would cut it, and I would slip it off like a glove, and I would tape it back together, and I give it to him as a souvenir. And other people would ask if I could wrap their hands, and I'd say, "No, there's only one per," so that way he has something special. But I've done it for military generals. I've done it for soldiers in Afghanistan. I've done it for Native American chiefs. I've done it for royalty in Abu Dhabi, and stars, movie stars. And so I've always given somebody something special. So if we ever hook up, man, I'll make sure I wrap your hands and give you a souvenir. You can put that back there with your Cleto Reyes gloves. I've
got a plan because right now I'm 17. I'm in the 2nd year of college in the UK. So that's I think it's high school in the US.
Yes.
Or high school, yeah. I think it's high school in the US. And then so next July, August, I'm going to come over to Las Vegas. That's the plan. All
right. Well, I got you wrapped, brother. All right. So you can take that souvenir. Might get you through security real easy. Just show it to them.
They'll recognize the custom tape as well with Stitch tape.
Yes.
All right, Stitch. Thanks so much for your time today. I always enjoy talking to you. I'll put your 2 books in the description. But where can people find you on Instagram
at? Stitch Duran. Very simple.
And Twitter?
The same thing.
Stitch Duran.
I haven't even read them. This one guy, my dentist, his son is real good at chess. So he was telling me about TikTok, this and that, and he hooked me up to TikTok. And after about a day or 2, I said, "Nah, it's not my style, man." So I had him take it down. So I'm Instagrams, I always respond. Twitters, I always look at them, and read, but I don't usually send a whole lot of messages out unless somebody asks a question or something. But feel free. I always answer questions, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're the best. You always reply on Instagram, which is great. All right then, Stitch. Until next time, then we'll catch up in 3 or 4 months like last time.
All right, man. All the best. Thank you.